So I'm going to start now. I am Sharon, and some of you may have received my email yesterday. I am the Assistant Director that oversees Outreach, Publicity and Planning. Today with me is Associate Professor Jude Chua. He's the Associate Dean for Graduate Education by Research, and also Associate Professor Tan Chee Lay, who's our Associate Dean, Graduate Education by Coursework. We also have Miss Lim Jing Xian. She is from the Office of Academic Administration and Services. She's our manager that oversees admissions and student records. Okay, I think there's some more people who are streaming in, so maybe I'll just take this a little bit slower while they join us. So today we will be covering three parts. One is why NIE is ranked among the top education institutes in the world. We have today present with us participants who are from overseas. We are really very excited to have you. So we really want to share a little bit more about NIE and what we and you know why we should be your preferred choice. So part two, right, will be about we will share with you our diverse range of graduate programs that will help you remain future focused. And finally, Jing Xian will take us through what NIE looks out for in an application and how you can maximize your chances of success. Okay. So I will start with sharing with you a little bit about NIE. So we are ranked among the top 10 education institutes in the world and top 3 in Asia. So NIE is an autonomous university institute under NTU Singapore. And that also means that when you graduate with an NTU qualification, and you'll be an NTU graduate, you'll be an NTU alumni. And as Singapore's only recognized institution for teacher accreditation, NIE plays a key role in shaping and developing Singapore's teaching workforce. So we were founded in 1950. We have been playing a key role in Singapore's education system for the last 70 years. Okay, so you can rest assured that if you complete our graduate programs, you will be broadly prepared for work, both in and outside of education, through the intellectual sparring among the best. So we have things like Dean's Commendation Award ceremonies, we have graduate student conference, and we also invite distinguished speakers to share with you at our seminars and also our workshops. So we build the capacity of our students for research through annual conferences, such as our Graduate Student Conference, which is organized by students for students. And we also have, like I mentioned, we have distinguished guest lectures and seminars to academically challenge your mind. We also provide conducive learning spaces to enable the exchange of academic discourse. So when you join us, you have access to our graduate student lounge, to our graduate student room, and you even have a graduate student club that can represent you as a student. And whatever your field may be, NIE graduates are equipped with the skills, knowledge, and disposition to frame, explore, and solve problems. Through our Meet the Professor sessions, our one-to-one consultations, we prepare you, through statistical skills workshops and even writing workshops. Okay, so without further ado, we'll move on to all you need to know about NIE's graduate programs by research. Dr. Jude Chua, is our Associate Professor of Philosophy and Associate Dean with NIE NTU Singapore. He was also previously Head of Policy, Curriculum and Leadership Department. He is a Fellow of the Royal Historical Society, London. He is also a visiting research collaborator with the Department of Politics, Princeton University in USA. His research interest is in philosophy and philosophy of education and education policy and leadership. So, Prof. Chua, thank you.
So, hello. I hope you all can hear me. Sharon, when I say next slide, you move on to the next slide. So maybe we move on to the next slide right now. So I just want to give you a brief sense of what the research program entails. And of course, we won't cover every possible thing that should be said or can be said. You are free, of course, later after this presentation to reach out to me if you are in Singapore. I'm quite happy to have a chat with you. And if you are out of Singapore, I'm quite happy to receive your email inquiry. So first we have, of course, for the research programs, our PhD and Masters by Research. We also have a Doctor in Education, and I'll say a bit about how these two are somewhat different. But if you see for the PhD and Masters by Education, you can be supervised by faculty members from quite a wide spread of fields and expertise. And I won't read out all the names of the departments, but you can have a quick look at that. And of course, it's all on the website as well. For the EdD, you choose a kind of specialization that you want to focus on, and then you are then guided and looked after and supervised by faculty from the various departments that host these specializations. So next slide, please. I think this is on the top of the minds of anybody who's thinking of doing a doctorate. So they have these options, or the option of doing a PhD or an EdD, and quite often the question arises, what's the difference? Well, we can have a chat about this again if you reach out to me, but basically, and this is just a broad stroke account, usually the PhD is a bit more focused on theory. Of course, it's focused on practice as well. Being a PhD in the field of education, you can't be just doing things pie in the sky. It has to be connected to reality and the real educational context. But it is focused on helping the student become a competent researcher who will then be able to contribute to the field, to the literature, to the scholarship, and to publish papers. So the thesis is much lengthier. You do 4 courseworks, 4 courses, and then you write up a thesis that's approaching 100,000 words. And then you work with your supervisor to try to get some of these published along the way. Or if not, you write up a very strong thesis from which you can extract some publications. And also you learn research skills and writing skills and your familiarity and really a mastery, and also the capacity to appropriate new ideas, and develop new ideas in your field, so that you can be a professor down the road if you wish to. The EdD focuses a bit more on educational practices and really solving things that are issues and problems in the context of a location, an educational location. Can be your own educational institution or some other real life scenario that you problematize. So you can immediately see that this is a bit more practical, if you like. At the same time, however, there have been people who've done EdDs who go on to become professors in universities and institutes. And so this involves more coursework and shorter dissertation. In fact, the dissertation is quite unique. The dissertation addresses a kind of issue that you problematize in the context of a real life scenario. And you will be working with, of course, faculty members and also educational leaders or professionals with some background knowledge of the educational context. And for that reason, it's also targeted at working professionals or educational leaders. And usually our students will have some years of educational leadership and professional experience, because that allows them to interact with each other in the classrooms. So let's move on to the next slide. But this is the typical journey of a PhD or EdD student. Of course, we are also thinking about the Masters by Research student, but we'll focus primarily on the PhD and EdD. You start off fulfilling your coursework requirements. It could be, in the case of PhD, 4. In the case of the EdD, I think it was 8 or 6. I think it's 8. Have a look at that again. Then you sort of pass a confirmation or dissertation seminar in which you present your proposed research that you're going to write up, and then it's grilled, and grilled, hopefully not toasted, grilled, and the panel will sort of discuss where you need to watch out, what you need to watch out for. And then when it's approved, you can conduct research, but only after applying for the necessary ethics approvals and so on and so forth. Then as you conduct your research, you also write up and formulate your thesis to ready it for submission. And when you submit, hopefully you will pass the final oral examination in the case of a PhD, And in the case of the EdD, there is a course in which you also present something, and then you graduate with your PhD or EdD. Next slide, please. Now, what's the criteria for admission? We do take the admission criteria quite seriously, and the process is competitive, and we would welcome strong quality candidates. So for the PhD especially, and I'll talk about PhD primarily, you will need a bachelor's degree with at least second uppers, honors degree, and of course that presumes that it has good CGPA. Ideally, would also have a master's with good CGPA. Of course, when you submit your application, you would write up a proposal. So we want to look at that as well. And then in the case of international students, we are requiring that you also have a good GRE and TOEFL score, good GRE and TOEFL scores. And in the next slide, you will see that the requirements are there. It's all on the website actually. So you don't, if you want, you can take a picture of it with your handphone. But if not, it's all on the website, and you can't remember where it is. Reach out to us. We'll point out the link to you. In the case of PhD and EdD, they are somewhat different. Now, in the case of, if we go back to the previous slide just very quickly, the admission requirements that sort of they would prefer bachelor's with second upper honors typically is for the PhD. If you are doing it at D, it will require that you have professional experience, and I think a bachelor's degree without necessarily having an honors would be something we would be willing to consider. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. So if you're thinking of doing a PhD with us, a few things, just rules of thumb really, for you to think about. Of course, you have to ask yourself why you want to do this PhD, and explore the list of research areas. Sometimes people having done a master's in research already would have a sense of what they would want to work on. If not, you can have a look at the website and look out for faculty with certain expertise. Usually they write up their own areas of research, check out their publications, and work proactively to reach out to them, have a chat with them and say, I'm interested in doing a PhD, would you consider working with me? And, strike out a relationship before you apply, and then of course compile the necessary documents. It's important that all the documents are in at the point of application. We are quite strict about that. The admissions team is very strict and very hardworking in relation to that. If any of the documents are missing, they will probably reach out to you once or twice, and if not, we will not consider the application. Well, I'll take questions nearer the end, I think. So I see a few raised hands. Let's move on to the next slide, but keep your hands raised so I can come back to you. Very quickly, I just want to highlight a couple of students who have done well and some of the things they said about their PhD and EdD experiences, as well as their Masters of Arts by Research experience. So I'm not going to read everything out there, but you can have a look at their cheery faces and some of the things they say. We'll probably be able to send you the links to some of these people, because what they say about their experience would have been published in, I think, Straits Times or a few other news avenues. Next slide, please. Again, students who have done our PhD then get placements at prestigious and attractive institutions where they are then employed. Like speaking for myself, my own graduate students have ended up in teaching in NUS, in Korean universities, and in the Philippines as well. So next slide, please. Again, someone saying good things about us. There are more of these. So I won't spend time reading, but she does say that, she's learned a lot, and she's able to apply the things she learned in her own work. Next slide, please. So we have a Doctor of Philosophy student who graduated with us, and I think we can play this video and hear what she has to say.
Hi everyone, my name is Indah Wahyu Puji Utami. I'm the head of History Department at the State University of Malang, Indonesia. And I just finished my PhD from the Humanities and Social Studies Education at the National Institute of Education, or NIE, Singapore. There are three main reasons why I chose NIE to pursue my PhD back then: proximity, quality, and scholarship opportunity. Let's talk about the first one. The close proximity between Singapore and Indonesia made it easy for me to travel back and forth, especially when I want to do my data collection and visit my family back home in Indonesia. The second one, and probably the most important one, is the quality. NIE is part of NTU, one of top universities in the world. And because of that, NIE provided me with excellent academic journey. During my PhD journey, I got a lot of support in terms of academic, research, and well-being from NIE, especially from my supervisor, faculty members, staffs, and also from my fellow PhD students. So my PhD journey at NIE was never lonely. The third one is the scholarship opportunities. There are numerous scholarships that you can tap on if you want to study at NIE, both from Singapore or Indonesia. From Singapore, you can apply the NTU Research Scholarship, and from Indonesia, there are numerous scholarships available for you if you want to study at NIE. I myself pursue my PhD at NIE with LPDP scholarships. And earlier this year, in January 2024, LPDP just announced that doctoral programs at NTU, including at NIE, is part of priority scholarships. So if you want to pursue your PhD, I highly recommend to do it at NIE. So what are you waiting for? Please register yourself to the PhD program at NIE. Bye-bye.
All right. Now, I noticed there are a couple of questions. I'll address those questions along the way a bit later, but I think the questions may also be answered by the following slides that I've got left for my section. So exactly as you said, there are quite a number of scholarships you can apply for, and they're all listed on the website. I won't go through all of them, but quite often we give out the NTU for the PhDs. We do give out quite a few of what's called the RSS scholarship, the research scholarship for PhDs, and it sort of covers school fees and also awards a rather generous stipend, certainly enough for you to live reasonably well in Singapore, even though things are getting more expensive as we speak. Of course, the most prestigious is the Nanyang President's Graduate Fellowship Scholarship, and that not only gives you a stipend, but also gives you money for going for conferences, which is very important for networking in your field. We have the Tan Pui Kee for the NIE at D, Tan Pui Kee Scholarship, and also the Henry David Hofstad Early Childhood Education Doctor in Education Scholarship. So there are a few. Have a look at the website, browse to see the terms and conditions, and remember when you apply and you think you qualify for those, to put in I think in the form you can highlight that you would like to apply for these scholarships. I do apologize for that chiming. My washing machine has just finished its work, but never mind. Let's not be let's overcome that and move on. Let's move on. Next slide, please. So somebody was asking how they would apply for the doctoral programs. The application periods are listed online. And if you can't remember these, do feel free to reach out to Sharon, who will be able to send you dates and so on and so forth. PhD Masters by Research, as you can see, it's already, the portal is already open, and you have until 31st of January to apply the PhD Masters. Do we have a slide for the EdD? Okay, let's move to the next one. I don't know if there's a slide for the EdD application.
EdD is open only to the January intake, so this round there is it will not be available for application.
That's right. So the next cohort would start in January 2026. So when would the PhDs, when would the applications be roughly? Because somebody was asking.
It will be between May to June.
So May to June next year. May to June next year, you probably, the portal will sort of open, and then follow the instructions there, compile your documents, and submit the application. Even for the EdD, it's strongly recommended that you reach out to a supervisor. So there are a couple of questions about supervision and reaching out to supervision. Maybe I can address those here. So the first one is, what is a good protocol for contacting potential PhD supervisors? Is it appropriate to have parallel discussions with different possible advisors? Yes, it's perfectly fine. And sometimes you reach out to one, doesn't quite work out, reach out to another. There are no strict rules, because there is no commitment, and you shouldn't feel burdened with a kind of you shouldn't feel that you have or are compelled to work with the particular supervisor that you reached out to, because after all, it's going to be a 4 or 5 year journey, so you really have to think hard about it, and it has to work on both ends. So no problem contacting multiple supervisors at a time, but typically somebody would contact at most, probably just work with 1 or 2 or 3, because if you imagine yourself contacting more than that, it would be really, really tiresome, having to write up so many possible proposals. The PhD scholarships are located based on PhD advisor who is no. Okay, the PhD, that's a good question. We give out the scholarships on a competitive basis, and the person that's competing is the student, the applicant, not the supervisor. So we are looking at, number 1, undergraduate qualification. Number 2, the master's qualification, if he or she has one. Of course, when we say look at, we mean to say whether it's a good honors degree, first class, second upper, how strong is the CGPA, and then what do the referees say about the candidate, because you submit, I think at least two referral letters along with your application package. We also see if you have presented papers at conferences, if you publish a paper even at the undergrad, at the master's level. If you have, there's no obligation for you to do that, of course. And we have students who haven't been able to publish but have very good undergraduate qualifications, and who may be still open, who may still be considered for the scholarship. But if you do have some of these things, if you've been presenting papers at conferences, you've been working on certain academic reports, if you got 1 or 2 papers published, you want to highlight that in your CV, we'll take note of that. And it all contributes to your competitiveness, because the number of scholarships, we do have scholarships. At the same time, the scholarship number is finite, and we do have to eventually decide who are the stronger candidates that more deserve the scholarship. And we scrutinize each case quite closely, and quite often each case is rather unique. So just show us, what you've got. And the research proposal is also important, because when we are considering you, it will go down to the departments, which will constitute a panel to evaluate your proposal and to interview you, and so on and so forth. And also, it really depends on, much of it also depends on how you perform during the interview. And then it all goes to a kind of final report about the candidate. And then we decide whether to award the scholarship. Is the quality of research proposal? It is important, but equally important is whether the student has a good undergraduate degree, whether the student has a good master's degree. The reason for that is because we have to make a judgment about the ability or competence or likelihood that the student will finish the PhD program. We don't want a situation where the student comes in and really struggles and then falls and falls by the wayside and then and fails to complete the program. So there's a bit of the kind of ethics of care as well, the kind of responsibility on our part to make sure that people we admit, we judge to be able to succeed. Thank you for your interest. Yeah. Is there a different scholarship chances? Not really, but we can have a separate conversation about that. But if you are a quality student, we would be very keen to have you on our program and to support you financially. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. And if I haven't been able to address all the questions you have, you can still reach out to me. We can have a chat. No harm. Is that it? Okay.
Yes, that's it.
Prof. Tan Chee Lay.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank
Chua.
you.
Yes. And next up, we have Prof. Tan Chee Lay. He's our Associate Dean for Graduate Education by Coursework, and he's also an Associate Professor with the Asian Languages and Cultures Department. He was a Lee Kong Chian Research Fellow and George Lyndon Hicks Fellow at National Library. He has won numerous research awards and best research papers in China and Taiwan, and has been keynote speaker in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, China, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. He is currently a board member of Lee Kuan Yew Fund for Bilingualism and Singapore Book Council, the trustee of Singapore Chinese Teachers Union, and an honorary expo member of China's Modern Linguistic and Pedagogical Research Professional Committee. Please, Prof. Tan. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Thanks, everybody, for coming on board. Well, as you have heard, Jude, he's actually my partner in crime, in the sense that Jude is in charge of graduate education by research, and I'm actually in charge of graduate education by coursework. Well, if you want to ask what's the difference between the two, of course, one is solely or mainly by coursework, which you take classes, okay, for your degree, and for myself, it's actually more for master's degree. And for Jude, you have master's by research as well as PhD and EDD, okay? So, right, I'm going to switch off my video because my connection is not that stable here, but rest assured you are speaking to me and not to a machine, okay? All right, can we have the next slide, please? Right, as we say, masters by coursework. What do we mean in NIE? As you can see here, there are 3 different tracks that we have. First one is academic content, which means we have got Masters of Art and Master of Science in the various academic area, including applied linguistics, humanities, exercise and sports studies, life sciences, mathematics for educators, science of learning. All right, so you have MA and MSc. That's for academic content. So people always ask us in NIE, do you only work on education alone? As you can see here, well, we do have academic content, and it's not compulsory that every single one of them is actually tied to education. So that's one. The second track is education domains. Well, this one is tied to education because it's a MEd, MED. As you can see, the different areas include art, Chinese language, curriculum and teaching, developmental psychology, drama, early childhood, education assessment, English, high ability studies, learning sciences and technologies, Malay language, mathematics, music, science, special education, and Tamil language. So all these are under MED, MEd. And I have to probably highlight here that for MEd, it is a subsidized program for Singaporeans and Singapore PR, in the sense that MOE actually subsidize this program. So if you are Singaporean, Singapore citizen, and Singapore PR, you get a subsidized rate for this. And then the third track we have the professional practice. Okay, and this include Masters of Art and Masters of Teaching. So the areas include applied psychology, counseling and guidance, instructional design and technology, professional education, training and development, as well as the highly popular MATCL, which is Masters of Art in Teaching Chinese as an International Language. This one is taught in Chinese. And finally, we have the Master of Teaching. This is another subsidized master, which is subsidized by MOE. So if you are, again, Singapore citizen and Singapore PR, this will be subsidized. So as you can see, we have altogether 14 plus 2 masters by coursework. 14 in the sense that 14 are unsubsidized masters, and the plus 2 is the 2 subsidized masters in the sense it's at MEd and Masters of Teaching. Okay, can we have the next slide, please? Right, of course, you would be wondering about the general entry and requirements. Similar to the research route, you do need to have a good bachelor's degree from a recognized university, which means you need to have good CGPA and other qualification or even relevant working experience as specified in the master's program. So for different programs or different masters, the number of years of working experience may be different. Okay, so you need to go into our website and look at the one that you are really interested in and see if there's any requirement for working experience. Usually there will be for some of them, like Masters in Education, MEd. So you probably need 2 years of teaching or related experience in education. Okay, there may be other specific preferences for individual courses. So well, just go to our website and you can find all of them there. Okay, next please. All right, and this will be the requirement of English language for masters by coursework. As you can see, for students who come from, especially from a university which is not a English medium university, for example, from China or other places, you need to have English results in the form of TOEFL, which is a minimum score of 580 for the paper and pencil examination and 92 for the internet-based exam. If you are doing IELTS, IELTS, the minimum score is 6.5. All right, for all the Masters by Coursework program, which is taught in English. Next. And yes, for our Masters by Coursework, you do have 2 different routes, okay? The first one is coursework only, and the second one on the right is coursework plus dissertation route. Okay, let's look at the left-hand side first. The requirement will be you need to complete 8 courses, okay, of 32 AU's academic units, or for some others will be 10 to 12 courses up to 42 AU's, okay? So depending on the program. This means that everything that you do is by coursework. Okay, you complete the different courses, 6 courses in the master's program, then you select an open elective where it's offered, and then complete an integrative project. Okay, this is the left-hand side coursework only route. And if you're looking at the right-hand side, you have the coursework plus dissertation, which means the dissertation will actually take up 2 courses. Okay, in replacement of 2 courses, you do a dissertation, which is at a lower word count as compared to masters by research. So if you want to go on embark on this coursework plus dissertation route, you need to complete at least 4 courses with a minimum CGPA of 3.5. Then you'll be allowed to go on this route to write a thesis. Okay. Then you embark on the approved research project, complete all other requirements, and you get your master's. So this is the left-hand side and the right-hand side. well, of course, you do not have to decide at this moment of the point of enrollment. It's only when you finish 4 courses, then you see if you meet the minimum requirement and you wish to switch to the coursework plus dissertation route. Okay, next page, please. And for the candidature period, we have full-time and part-time. We understand that there are a lot of you who may be working, so you'll be a part-time student. Well, I myself used to be a part-time master's student, and I did the master's by coursework route as well. So I know to some of us who are actually working adults, the masters by coursework actually allow us to have a more structured pathway to a master's, right? So you can decide for this. For full-time, the minimum is 1 year and the maximum is 2 years. Part-time, you have double of that, which is 2 to 4 years. Okay, so this is our candidature period. Next slide, please. Well, these are some of the QR codes that you can scan, which includes details of our program, minimum entry requirements, tuition fees, and even get to know some of our students who have done masters by coursework, and you can listen to them speaking and see the testimonial for the program. I'll stop for a while you can take a picture or scan the different QR codes. Yeah, I do see some questions along the way. I may have to, I will answer them in a while towards the end. If it's okay, we will move on to the next slide. Right, again, similar to the ones from the graduate education by research, we do have many good things said about our programs by our graduates. So these are some of them. I will not go into the details, but yes, please take a quick look. We have got students from overseas, local, and well, almost all of them have great things to say about our coursework. Right, next slide, please. Yes, some more testimonies from our students, local and overseas. As you can see, that includes art educators, healthcare workers, and so on. So, yes, our graduates are in different fields when they graduate. And the degree has helped them progress in their career. Okay, next slide, please. Right, we do have a video which I would like to show you. Again, well, by our students talking about the program.
Postgraduate studies. First of all, NIE is part of NTU, which is ranked top 10 worldwide in education and training, according to the QS ranking 2024. This global recognition makes NIE an ideal choice for anyone looking to pursue advanced studies in education. Secondly, the learning environment at NIE is truly enriching. NIE teachers are experts in the field of linguistics and education. Moreover, the diverse backgrounds of the students allow friendships that go beyond the classroom. Besides, the curriculum is practical and applicable and helps you gain many valuable skills. Thirdly, after studying at NIE, I feel more more confident in my teaching than ever before, and I can say without hesitation that I highly recommend NIE to those looking to advance their education and career in the field of education and training.
Hi, I hope you can hear the video. Right, basically, of course, that's good things talking about NIE coursework. Well, probably I should, I'm aware of the time actually, so probably I will let Jing Xian talk about admission and how to increase your chances of getting admitted, and then probably come back to the questions towards the end, if that's all right. Jing Xian, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Tan. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I saw that there are quite a number of questions in the chat regarding MOE subsidy, etc. We'll be covering it in my segment, and I will address the questions later. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for being with us here this morning. I'm Jing Xian from the Office of Academic Administration and Services. In today's session, I will walk you through the admission and application procedures for our graduate programs. So at the end of our presentation, there will be a Q&A session. So please feel free to jot down any questions you have as we go along, and we will do our best to address them later. So I will be covering three main areas. First, the application procedures. When can you apply? How can you apply? And when can you expect to receive the application outcome? Next, I will touch on fees and subsidies. How much do you need to pay? Is there any subsidy? And lastly, we will cover what are the scholarships that NIE offers and how do you apply for them. So to recap, NIE offers three types of graduate programs. We have research programs, namely the Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, Master of Arts and Master of Science by Research. So students take a few courses and focus on in-depth thesis writing. The Doctor in Education, on the other hand, is a coursework program, and it is different from the PhD program. Students will need to take 8 courses and do a dissertation. Lastly, we have the Masters by Coursework programs, which students mainly take courses and may opt to do dissertation at the last stage of their study if they are eligible. We have 2 main intakes a year, in January and August. The application period for the August 2025 intake exercise is now open, and the application periods are stated in the slides here. For the Doctor in Education program, as mentioned by Prof. Chua earlier, is not offered for the ongoing August 2025 intake exercise. So if you are interested in doing the Doctor in Education, you will need to keep a lookout for our application periods for January intakes, because it's typically offered once a year, which is January intakes. To find out the list of programs offered for the August 2025 intake exercise, you can visit the link stated in this slide or scan the QR code with your phone. So if you are currently applying for external funding, such as sponsorship from your organization to fund your studies, you need to submit your applications to NIE early so as to not miss out on our application period. Late applications cannot be accepted, so you are strongly encouraged to plan ahead. So there's a question earlier on whether MOE, there's somebody who is interested to apply for the MOE postgraduate scholarship. So scholarships offered by MOE are not administered by NIE. So for the application procedures, you will need to check with MOE directly on the application periods and what is the application procedures. Our program application period is mutually independent from MOE's scholarship application period. So please keep a lookout on the application period and submit your application to our NIE program within the stipulated dates. Because if you miss out the application period, you will definitely not be able to accept any late applications. So how to apply? To start with your to start the application process, it is essential to first familiarize yourself with the entry requirements of the programs you are interested in. Each program has its own set of entry requirements, so be sure to visit the respective program webpage to confirm your eligibility. In the online application system, you will need to upload supporting documents, and for the list of supporting documents required for submission, you can find them at the link under item B. Once you have reviewed the entry requirements of the programs and gathered your supporting documents, you can proceed to submit your application at the link shown here. So the most popular questions that applicants who have applied to NIE usually ask us is, when can I expect to receive the application outcome? Application outcome will be issued in batches, and for applicants of the August 2025 intake exercise, you can expect to receive the outcome via email by April or May 2025. Depending on the nature of your inquiries, here are the email contacts you can send your inquiries to. For admissions and applications related queries, you can reach out to us at nieadmpp@nie.edu.sg. If it's regarding timetable study plans, you can reach out to our colleagues from the program office, gradstudies@nie.edu.sg. If you wish to know more about the program curriculum or like the career prospects upon completion of the program, you can reach out to the program leaders. Their contact details can be found at the respective program web pages under the Additional Information tab. Next, we have fees and subsidies. So there are 2 semesters in an academic year, and fees are payable every semester. There are 2 billing structures. For MOE subsidized programs, the tuition fees payable per semester are fixed regardless of the number of courses the student has registered for. For self-financing programs, fees are billed based on the total academic units or number of courses registered in each semester. So fees are subject to revision every academic year, and currently the fee information for academic year 2025 to 2026 that is applicable to the August 2025 intake is not available. So we expect the information to be available in around June next year. So please check the NIE website for the updated fees information in around June 2025. In the meantime, you can refer to the current academic year fees information as a gauge first. One of the most common question that we receive is there any subsidy available? The Ministry of Education MOE subsidy is offered for Master of Education programs, Master of Teaching programs, and all research programs. So the criteria to enjoy this MOE subsidy there are 2 criteria. Firstly, you must be a Singaporean or Singapore permanent resident, and you must not have enjoyed MOE subsidy in a graduate program before at the same or lower level. So let me elaborate more on this part. So meaning if you have already enjoyed MOE subsidy at your first master's program completed at a local autonomous university like NUS before, if you apply to NIE for a second master's program that is MOE subsidized, you will not enjoy the MOE subsidy again, and you will be liable to pay the non-subsidized fee rate. However, if you apply for PhD programs while enjoying a MOE subsidy for a master's program before, you will be eligible to enjoy the MOE subsidized fee rate for the PhD program because the PhD program is at a higher level than the master's. But on the flip side, if you already enjoyed MOE subsidy for a PhD program before, you will not be eligible to enjoy MOE subsidized fee rate for master's program, even though you have never taken a master's program. Okay, so students need not apply for the MOE subsidy if they are eligible. It will be automatically deducted in the fee invoice that will be issued to you. So next, we have the Skills Future Mid-Career Enhanced Subsidy, which is applicable only to Singaporeans aged 40 years and above who enrolls in the Master of Education or Master of Teaching program. This subsidy is not applicable for research programs. So eligible candidates can pay fees that are 60% lower than the standard subsidized fees payable by Singapore citizens who are below 40 years old. So if you are not eligible for MOE subsidy because you have already utilized it before, you will not be eligible for the Skills Future Mid-Career Enhanced Subsidy as well, because it goes hand in hand with the MOE subsidy. The Skills Future Credit is a grant from the government to all Singaporeans aged 25 and above, and this is applicable to all graduate programs offered by NIE. So Singaporeans aged 40 years and above, there's an additional top-up of $4,000 by the government, which was announced earlier this year. So you can use this Skills Future Credit to partial pay for the graduate programs that you are enrolled in. Here are the incentives applicable to self-financing Masters by Coursework programs with effect from the August 2024 intake. So firstly, Singaporeans and Singapore permanent residents will get a $5,000 subsidy. So the fees indicated in the NIE website for Singaporeans and Singapore permanent residents are already the net amount after the deduction of these $5,000 subsidy. So secondly, all NTU or NIE alumni, regardless of nationality, will get a 10% tuition fee rebate. So please take note that these two schemes are for self-financing Masters by Coursework programs. It is not applicable for MOE subsidized programs like Master of Education or Master of Teaching. The Service Obligations SO scheme is for international students of research programs. They can apply to take up a 3-year SO to pay a subsidized fee rate up to the maximum program duration. As part of this SO, the international student will need to work in Singapore-based companies upon graduation. For more details, you can visit the link on the slide. Do note that it's only for international students of research programs, not applicable for coursework. Next, let us look at the various scholarships administered by NIE. Here is a list of scholarships for research programs. So outstanding full-time PhD students, there are 4 scholarships applicable. And for full-time Masters by Research students, there are 2 scholarships available, which is the NTU as well as NIE Masters by Research. This first 6 scholarships are regardless of nationality, but only for full-time study only. For the Protocol Scholarship, is open to both full-time and part-time applicants of Masters by Research programs. So preference is given to Singaporeans and Singapore permanent residents for the Protocol Scholarship. For the Doctor in Education program, we have 1 scholarship for applicants to apply for at the point of application, and that is the Tan Chee Lay Doctor in Education Scholarship. This is applicable to both full-time and part-time EDD programs. For Masters by Coursework programs, we have the Ong Tiong Tat Irene Tan Liang Keng Master's Degree Scholarships, which applicants can apply at the point of application, and is only applicable to Singaporeans and Singapore permanent residents for the following 5 programs: Master of Arts Applied Psychology, Master of Arts Counselling and Guidance, Master of Arts in Humanities Education, Master of Arts in Professional Education, as well as a Master of Education Early Childhood program. So how do you apply? So different scholarships, they have different eligibility criteria, like for instance, nationality as well as mode of study, and there are different application procedures. Some of the scholarships, you will need to indicate your interest to apply. Together, when you submit at the point of application. So when you submit, you have to indicate that you want to apply for the scholarship. But for the Tam Pui Ki as well as Protocol Scholarship, there's a prescribed form that you have to download and fill in the relevant questions and then subsequently upload to the online application system. So please visit the website for more details for the scholarship that you are interested to apply for. So that marks the end of my presentation, my sharing. So thank you, and we look forward to receiving your applications for the August 2025 intake exercise. Yeah, Sharon, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Jing Xian. So sorry, I'm just trying to reply someone's message. Okay, we have now come to the tail end of the sharing session, and we will move into question and answer right now. So if you have any other questions that apart from those that we've addressed already, you can raise them right now, and we'll be happy to address them.
I think for many of the questions, for Masters by Coursework have been answered by Jing Xian's presentation actually, regarding, well, subsidies, whether you are eligible for Skills Future and so on. I think most of them have been answered during the presentation by Jing Xian. So yeah, we'll probably look at some other questions.
Yes, we have a question for the MEd in Chinese. One of the participants is asking whether the course context, is it more for primary school context or secondary school and beyond?
All right, well, Chinese, yes, it's actually from my department, ALC, Asian Languages and Cultures. There is no fixed or just only one context for that. We do have primary, secondary, and even pre-U content. So we try to cover as wide as possible. So we are not fixed in just only one level. So I hope that is actually a short and answer for you.
Thank you, Prof. Tan. Do we have any other questions? Okay, we have one in the chat room. Currently, I'm working while considering further studies. I am planning to complete a part-time MEd within 2 years. How many courses would you advise to take per semester to achieve this goal? Okay, actually our programs on a part-time basis, right? If you are going to enjoy the subsidy, you have to complete it within 2 years. So on a part-time basis, you should be doing 2 courses per semester to complete 8 courses within 4 semesters over 2 years. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's right, Sharon. So if you are full-time, that means you'll be you have 2 semesters of subsidized rate, which is within 1 year. So that means you have to do 4 per semester. But if you are part-time, you do 2 per semesters, so 8 in 2 years. Right, correct.
Yes, that is a follow-up question on the timing for courses if you take full-time. So whether you take full-time or part-time, full-time usually they do 2 courses. No, sorry, full-time they do 4 courses a semester. Part-time usually they do 2. So each course is conducted once a week. So if you do 2 courses, you should expect to avail yourself twice a week for lessons. If you do 4 courses, then you should expect to avail yourself 4 times a week. And our lessons are typically conducted in the evening from 6 to 9 p.m. There is another question on, I understand that many among the MEd programs are primarily designed for educators working in Singapore schools and the Ministry of Education. Would these programs be open for international students too? Yes, most definitely. As long as you have interest in our program and you meet our minimum entry requirement, you are more than welcome to apply for our programs.
There's a question about the scholarship. So somebody asked, my master's degree by research was funded by NUS Research Scholarship. So would he or she still be eligible for a scholarship with NIE NTU by research, PhD by research? Jing Xian, do you have an answer to that? I think yes, right? Still. Because
Yes,
it's a
but
different qualification.
okay, so if you have already enjoyed because for research programs, right, typically it is MOE subsidized. So if the program that you have taken under NUS, even though it is under scholarship, right, if you have enjoyed the MOE subsidy back then in NUS, you will not be eligible for MOE subsidy for a second master's program if you are taking a master's. But if you are taking a PhD, then yes, you'll be eligible for MOE subsidy, and yes, you can also still apply for the scholarship. Whether or not you have enjoyed the MOE subsidy or whether or not you are under scholarship for your previous program, you are eligible to apply for the scholarship, and it will be considered on a case-by-case basis.
On a comparative basis, yes.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, there is a question about how the courses offered by NIE are different and distinct from those offered by NTU and NUS. I think primarily our focus in our programs is in education, and they are really meant for people who are educators and professionals who are in the education setting. I'm not sure whether Prof. Chua or Prof. Tan want to elaborate on this.
Well, we can't say too much except to say that we offer very good courses, and possibly, in my own opinion, we offer better courses. That's what we'll say. That's what I would say. Quite confident about that.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Chua. Okay, there is another question about my undergraduate major is clinical medicine from the 95211 University of China, and can I apply for education master coursework? Definitely, as I mentioned, as long as you finish our program, you meet our minimum entry requirement, you're more than welcome to apply for our program.
Can I add on to
Yes.
the response? So apart from having a undergraduate degree, right, depending on which master's by coursework program, there may be a requirement on teaching qualification or working experiences. So please visit the website to check to confirm what is the specific requirements and whether you meet them. Yeah. For EDD program, there is no MOE subsidy. It's a self-financing program. There is a question on referee reports. I just want to clarify on referee reports. So for Masters by Coursework programs, only the Master of Arts Counseling and Guidance program, as well as the Master of Arts Applied Psychology program, require referee reports. Doctor in Education, as well as the all research programs, also require referee reports. All applicants are strongly encouraged to get the necessary referee reports from whether it's academic or professional. But if you actually have been away from study for very long, many years, you graduated already, and you have issues getting the academic report, you can replace it with a professional referee, but it will not be considered in the capacity of academic referee. Yeah, so in the online application, there will be a section in which you can indicate the reasons why you cannot get the academic referee. So please give a detailed explanation so that the academic selection board, they can review it and understand your situation better.
Yes, that's a very good point. For the PhD especially, it's important as best as you can to get academic referees to write your referral letter for you.
Maybe Sharon, I just continue some of the questions that I can answer. So Shah asks, I was subsidized by MOE for Masters in Coursework. Will I still be eligible for MOE subsidy for PhD? PhD is at a higher level than Masters. So if you have enjoyed MOE subsidy at Masters level, you are still eligible for MOE subsidy at PhD level. But if you are applying for a second Masters, you will not be eligible for the MOE subsidy for a second Masters. You will need to pay the non-subsidized fee rate. Like what Sharon shared earlier, if you are pursuing full-time Master of Education study, the hours is actually similar to the part-time programs. So it's classes are conducted 6 to 9 p.m. In the evening. One course you register, one lesson per week, around there. So if you take full courses as a full-time student, right, you need to come to NIE 4 times a week for lessons. Who can I consult if I need to compare which course I like to take for MEd? The program leaders. Actually, if you want to understand whether your interests and whether the career prospects that you are looking at is which master's program, right, you will have to go through the Master of Education program webpage and see the entry requirements, look at the program structure and curriculum. And if you want to find out more details, you can reach out to the program leaders.
There's Jamila who's had her hand raised for quite a while, and she's showing us this picture of a cat eating the other. Maybe we should let her speak. Jamila, do you want to ask your question? Or maybe there was an old hand that was raised. Okay, never mind, let's move on.
Okay, I'm a bit mindful of the time. Maybe we take the last two questions. If by Nurul Ayin and also by Wei Yun Mok. So Nurul Ayin must wish to know, right, if she's taking PDPB from MOE, is she still eligible for NIE scholarship? This is a question that we can answer, or is it better for her to seek MOE's advice?
Can I check what program you are interested in? But actually, basically, right, NIE scholarship, if you are referring to research, right, our scholarship is mutually independent from any leave or scholarships offered by MOE actually. So if you want to take leave from MOE to study, you will need to contact MOE with regards to the procedures. But as long as you fulfill the scholarship eligibility criteria, you can apply.
Thank you. So the last question, if I wish to work towards an academic career with NIE in the future, will it be more advisable to work towards a master's first or apply for the PhD route directly?
I'll answer that.
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
answer that. No,
Thanks,
it's
Dr.
hard to say what your future employers would prefer, but generally we've had people with single first-class honors go straight to the PhD, and that's not too uncommon. Some of them also do a master's first, but there are cases where you have sometimes even a strong second upper with applicants with a second upper with a list of publications in top-tier journals going straight to the PhDs, case-by-case basis. So it's hard to say what is the best thing to do. It really also depends on your field. Maybe you want to have a chat about a professor who's in the field, get a sense of what they prefer, what the field and the hiring committees in the field would like to see on a CV. But can you apply for both programs at the same time? I suppose you are allowed to apply for both programs, but you can't do both at once. If we've quite often had people with first-class honors go straight to the PhD. So that's what I would say to you. Yeah. But if you're not sure, you still want to have someone to chat with, don't be afraid to reach out to me and we can have a chat. Bring your CV along. I can have a look at it. Maybe give you a bit more ideas. So don't be afraid to reach out to real human beings, right?
So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. If you have more questions, please feel free to drop us an email at niegpl at niegpl@nie.edu.sg. Yes, and before you go, can I just trouble you to do a short to provide some feedback so that we can do a better sharing session the next time. And if not, thank you so much, and we'll hope to see you around on our campus in August 2025.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Jamila still has her hand raised, and she's showing up that cat beating the other. Does she want to ask anything?
Jamila, do you want to speak? Can she speak? Okay.
Cat going meow. All right.
Okay. Hope to see you all in NIE. All the best.
Thank you. Please remember
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sharon, I'll take my leave now.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And thank you for joining us, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, I'm going to end the session now. If there's really any other questions, please do feel free to drop us an email. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.